All right, here we
Well, we
go.
could probably get going anyway while he's grabbing.
Yeah. So welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. I have to figure out how to put this one forward. Can you see that still?
Yep.
Okay, good. This is, here's some online meeting tips. You can use your headset or earbuds if you have them, and mute your mic when you're not speaking. That's in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. And you can also toggle your video on and off if you leave your seat, or if you're eating something and you don't want anyone to see your mouthful of food, go ahead and toggle your video off. But we like to see you, so keep it on as much as you can. This is called, what you see here is called the gallery view. And if you want to see the speaker view, you click on that button at the top right-hand corner that says speaker view to adjust, and you can toggle that back and forth yourself. I will be doing it on my end just for the recording purposes. So you'll have free range on your side. You can't mess it up. And that way the recording will be what I see. If you have questions or notes for the speakers, click on that chat button and type between the speeches, please. So in between, when someone's finished speaking, you would send them a chat note. Or if you had questions for the Toastmasters, you can put their name in individually and send that to them privately. This meeting will be recorded. It's our policy, by participating in our meeting, that you agree to that a recording will be available publicly on our YouTube channel and on our website. If you have any problems with this, just let me know, and I can edit your portion out of the video. But it's all recorded all in one piece and put up on our YouTube channel and then on our website. In order to become a member, you just click here where it says start here. You'll see this become a member tab. Has all the information you need to know about joining our club. At this point, I'm going to say, put the gavel down, say welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online, pass it over to Doug, our Toastmaster for the day, and have him read our mission statement of our particular club. Handing it over to you, Doug.
Thank you, Dawn. Welcome everybody to Advanced Toastmasters Online for October 24th. We are an Advanced Toastmasters Club which supports maverick leaders to have more impact by providing advanced feedback on leadership skills and discovering what it means to be out-of-the-box, innovative leaders. Today's theme is unexpected surprises. And that actually turns out to be a very appropriate theme because unexpectedly this morning I had several people drop off the agenda independently. So we have a much shortened agenda, but we certainly filled it in a bit better, and we'll keep on going. But I'd also pick that theme of unexpected surprises because I had a surprise over the weekend. I was at a conference and received a great surprise in the realm of, strangely enough, cryptocurrency. I discovered some news which was actually very exciting to me, but this is not the time or the place to go into that. But it's fun to have a great surprise that leaves you very excited and looking forward to opportunities in the future. I'd now like to introduce our timer, who will show you how she will be keeping time, and introduce her role. So please welcome Tricia Grove.
Thank you, Doug. It is my duty to keep track of time during the meeting. Depending on the prepared speaker for today is an 8 to 10 minute speech. So at 8 minutes, we'll receive a green indication. At 9 minutes, yellow. And at 10, red. That means you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up. During our table topics, we'd like you to speak at least 1 minute, but you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. At 1, you'll see green, 1.5, and 2, red. And you again have 30 seconds to wrap up. And our evaluation person has 2 to 3 minutes. Again, 2, 2.5, and 3. And she will also have 30 seconds to wrap up. And I'll make a report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you, Tricia. Don't you love it when your mouse slips and you click on the wrong button, trying to unmute yourself? But back on track. I would now like to introduce our speaker for today. Kelly McCormick is a guest to the club, but she is already a distinguished Toastmaster. She is an author and a speaker on the topic of leadership. And today, Kelly will share the first 8 to 10 minutes of her main presentation, The Power of a Leader. This session will be interactive, so please welcome Kelly McCormick.
Okay. Can you see my screen yet? Hold on one second. Now you can. You see? Okay, good. And last question. Let's get this going. Can you hear? Yes, I see bobbing heads. All right. Today, we're going to look at the power of a leader. And since we're at Toastmasters, we know leadership is at least half of what we end up doing, especially in an events club like this. That's my intro slide, by the way. If I could wave a magic wand and make you 5 times more productive, 5 times more productive, what would you do with that extra productivity? Well, that magic wand is the human state called flow. You may not know it by that name, but one of these names will probably ring a bell. You've heard athletes talk about being in the zone. Jazz musicians talk about being in the pocket, or somebody's genius is rising. Think of that time when you felt like you were on top of the world. You just felt like you were in such an amazing place. On occasion, you might hear of a father who looks at their child for the first time, or you might see somebody struggle in science or medicine and all of a sudden have an epiphany. It's that place where you just feel absolutely amazing. I call it the set point. S is for selfless or something bigger than yourself. E is for effortless. And T is time is sort of weird. It either stands still or moves into the future very quickly. Well, McKinsey & Company, the renowned consulting firm, did research on senior executives for many years. And they found that these senior executives were 500% more productive in the state of flow. And today, you are going to walk away with the tools to achieve the state of flow and to increase your power as a leader. Does that work for each of you? Okay. The roadmap for today, and sidebar, you won't get this entire roadmap. First, we have to create an empowering definition of a leader, something that allows us to have power. Second, we need to explore the actions taken by a leader. And finally, we need to increase the power. Let's look at this one first. We're here at Toastmasters. What is the tagline? And you can mouth it. I see it. That's right. It's where leaders are made. The question I have is this. If it's where leaders are made, then what is this word leader? Because we talk about this in our society a lot, but what is the real definition of the word leader? And what I would ask is that you take a moment and just think to yourself, what is that word leader? Come up with a good definition for yourself and take about 20 seconds. So what is the definition of leader? And you can turn off your mute. Somebody give me your definition of leader. Rick, what do you think it is? We need to have the mute off.
I'm sorry, my fingers were fumbling there.
Okay.
My definition of leader is somebody who makes things happen, somebody who knows how to guide others and does it with enough finesse that everybody wants to follow with them.
Great. Does that sort of capture what everybody else was thinking with? Okay, great. So thank you, Rick. And that's what we'll start with. Now, what I've put together here is oftentimes we hear about a person who leads is a person who leads people. And is that the definition of a leader? It's so often put in place that it becomes the definition of leader if you start looking that up. But I agree with what Rick was saying because it gives us much more power. It can be a person who leads people, but I sure wouldn't pay for somebody to lead people if that's all of the qualifiers that were in place. Because quite frankly, I need somebody to get a result. And that's exactly what Rick was saying. Now, some people are good people leaders, but it's not necessarily the definition of leader. So we've got to find a way to get results. So we could even just say it's a person who creates anything. They have a target, they may lead people, and something happens. And to summarize that definition and to make it more empowering for us, I've put together something that says a leader is a person who has the power to create. Now, there's two parts to that. First, you've got the word create. And that one's simple. That means you bring something into existence. Can you agree with that? Okay. So there's no leverage whatsoever for us in that word. But in this definition, we do have something else, which is the word power. And the word power means to have the capability or the potential, in this case, to create something. So if I have the power to do something, I have now leverage. I have a variable that actually could empower me as a leader. So when we take this definition of it's a person, a leader is a person who has the power to create, we could actually transform this into an equation and say that power equals create. So let's take a look at that. If I have low power, I have low, just mouth the word. And if I have high power, I have high. That's right, I have high ability to create. But if I have low power, there's no way I can make stuff happen in this world, as Rick was saying. I can't be a leader and actually make a result. In 2015, the UK did an optimism audit, and they studied 2,000 people. What they found was that 69% of those people felt trapped in the same routine. Now, let's forget about the second part of that. 69% of people feel trapped. Most people feel trapped. It went on to say that the majority don't make changes in their lives because they don't know where to start. So here we are trying to be leaders, but meanwhile, most people are stuck and we don't necessarily have the tools to make that different. So I have a question for you. Do you feel like you still have untapped potential? Anybody? Raise your hand if you still feel like you're not 100% fulfilled. Okay. We have a how problem. We've got a problem that says we don't necessarily know how to take this thing that we were given so many years ago and use it in such a way that we get results that are meaningful to each of us. Let me give you a metaphor. A leader is like money. Now, in that room over there, if I didn't come into this as a guest and just meet most of you, then I would have $1 million bill in my hand. I would also have a $100 bill. We know which one is real. But money has a type of power. That power is purchasing power. Leaders also have a type of power, and that is the power to create. Money at $20 or $50 or $100 has certain power. A $1 million bill has zero power in this world. On the other hand, a leader has power and ability to create. Now, if you were to attend the rest of this program, you would find out how to increase your power to create. And yet there's a yellow card staring at me. So I hope that you've gotten something out of the first few minutes of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly, for giving us the opening for your talk. It sounds very interesting, and I would definitely like to hear more of that talk at some point. Now we get to move to our impromptu speaking session, our table topics. And to run our table topics for today, we have our distinguished Toastmaster, Rick Weiner. Please welcome Rick.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you. Well, unexpected surprises. Unexpectedly, surprisingly made the topics master today. How's that for a tongue twister? I love the theme, especially that in another week we're going to be facing Halloween. Now, I had an office in Salem for about 50 years, maybe longer. I don't want to say how long exactly. And during that period of time, Salem, Massachusetts is the witch city. If you want some surprises, go there during the month of October and you will see things that you don't believe are humanly possible. What kind of experiences have you had that knock your socks off when you see somebody walking down the street in a costume? Let's see. How about Tricia? Can you tell us?
Yes, thank you so much, Rick. Well, I think when I walk down the street in my very rural town and see someone in a costume, is it Halloween? It's not quite yet. So if they were in a costume today, I think I would be quite surprised. And I would be maybe a little sure to cross the street and go on the other direction so they didn't approach me. Many people have costumes on every day, but we might not actually even notice it. They're masks. They hide their true selves behind these masks. Sometimes it's a good surprise, sometimes it's not. I would advise, try and save your costumes for Halloween night. Or not at all. Show us your true selves and get to know us even better. Back to you, table topics.
Thank you, Tricia. That was a very interesting twist on what I was getting at. That was good. Now, Halloween is really a strange time of the year in Salem. I remember a number of years ago, somebody sent me an email, or they called me, well, it was probably before email, they called me and asked me if I could officiate their wedding. I never met these people before. I met them over by the House of Seven Gables, which is quite famous. And the fellow had his teeth filed to points and the woman was wearing white makeup. It was an interesting experience. With that thought in mind, costume party. You see people, but this was a permanent change. He actually had his teeth filed. What's the weirdest thing you've seen somebody do to them to themselves? Dawn, could you tell us?
So yes, I would love to answer this question, Rick, and I appreciate all of the Salem additions to your table topic questions. I tend to not to see a lot of these things in real life. I don't know if it's because I live in little rural America. However, one of the strangest things that I saw was an episode of, I think it was SVU or one of those crime movies where everybody in the movie was having cosmetic surgery to have different parts of their body transformed like a costume. So they had ears that were pointy like Spock ears. Some of them were doing it for elves. And I actually have seen people dressed up like that and wondered, is that real? No, I don't find it to be strange. I think that people are very interesting, and I love to see how people express themselves. But I think that the strangest thing that I've seen would be like the ears changing to be pointy. And who knows? To each his own. Back to you, Rick.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I know this is kind of a strange topic of surprising experiences. Another unexpected surprise could happen when you're on a first date. Have you had any first dates? And if you haven't, make it up with a person that totally blew you away. What was the experience that happened? Kelly, tell us about it. Please unmute.
There you go. Let's see. Since nothing is coming to mind that would be worth talking about, I would say that this as a first date into my experiencing what the ATO group is about. What's fantastic is, and yes, I just can't think of any of the guys' first dates that I, from previous, but I will say that this is surprising and exciting, and it's sort of a yardstick that tells me that the last 2 years, and Rick, you knew me from October 1st, 2 years ago when I first started with the Fun Club, as we were called. From then until now, it's been a lot of hard work, but to actually step into a club like this, and I know that's not a romantic situation, but I will say that this is a first meeting, to be able to just say, sure, I'll take the speaker slot, just tells me that I've grown so much from such an incredibly low level of quality experience inside. It wasn't that I couldn't speak, you know that, Rick. I was actually pretty good then, but my internal experience did not match my external abilities. And now I have like zero nerves that come up, even when I'm meeting new people or doing new experiences. So I would say, even more than any of the wonderful dates I've been on, that is cool. Back to you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. And you're right. I did know you when you first became a Toastmaster, watched you fast track it to where you are now, and I was always impressed when you were on stage. Great job.
Thank you.
My next question. I remember being in Kuala Lumpur at the international conference. And when I got off the elevator, they walked me around for breakfast to a certain way, and I had a beautiful breakfast. Well, one day, I got off the elevator and I walked in the other direction. And I saw, oh my God, what is this? It was a breakfast of weirdest foods I've ever seen. I was trying to find something, and I thought, how did they transform this dining hall in such a fast way? Well, it just so happens that one side was American style, the other side was Malaysian style. Doug, food put in front of you that you have to, you really don't want to eat, but you're in a situation where you don't want to embarrass people? Tell us about one.
Well, thank you, Rick, for an interesting question. I can't actually recall a situation where I had food put in front of me that I had to eat. I haven't really traveled far and wide. I missed the Kuala Lumpur convention. It's one of only two conventions that Toastmaster conventions that I've missed in the last 10 years. But actually, I will tell you an experience I had when I was living in Hamburg, Germany. And I was at a restaurant, and I was ordering a hamburger. And I thought I was reading, my German's kind of shaky, but I thought on the menu it said it came with garlic, this particular hamburger. I'm like, well, that could be tasty. So I ordered it. I discovered that I'd misread the menu. And it wasn't garlic that I saw on my hamburger. It was a fried egg, sunny side up. And I'm like, who puts a fried egg on a hamburger? This is just not right. But then again, Hamburg is the city of the hamburger. So I said, why not? I'll give it a shot. And I tried it. It wasn't too bad. I'm not inclined to try it again. It wasn't quite as odd as the time a little bit later where I got a pizza with an unexpected fried egg in the middle of it. But that would be a different story. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Whereas only 5 of us, I'm going to tell you a little surprising experience that I had, and this could almost be considered a little embarrassing, surprising story. A number of years ago, after I was divorced, my Kelly, that's before Lori, and I didn't have any money. I went through a tough time. And then when I finally had an opportunity to go away for a weekend, I did some research and looked for a place in the Berkshires, which is Western Massachusetts. And I found this resort that looked fabulous, and it was very inexpensive. So I booked it. I decided I'm going to check it out. Well, I woke up Saturday morning, like 4 o'clock. I was so excited. I packed my suitcase, and I got out of the house, drove 2 hours to it. And I check in at the building. Nobody's up yet except for the people where you check in. With my 2 suitcases, walked in. The woman was looking at me like I was something strange. I don't know why. I put on my bathing suit. And I immediately ran outside to go in the jacuzzi. While I'm sitting in the jacuzzi, there's another guy there, and he didn't have his bathing suit on. I thought, well, okay, it's just 2 guys in here, no big deal. Then I see from a distance somebody walking towards me. It was a woman, and she was naked. And I learned what clothing optional meant. What an experience that was. And it was quite the surprise. All right, well, that's the end of my table topics for today. Doug, I'd like to turn the microphone back over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Rick, for some great questions and for taking on the whole role as a surprise. So, it's always great to talk about some of our experiences and learn about each other. And I love the story you tell. This brings us now to our evaluations. And since we have a small meeting today, I didn't try and fill the general evaluator slot because I can take it myself and just keep introducing people. So I will move straight forward with introducing our speech evaluator. Please welcome Dawn Nocera.
Thank you very much, Doug. And thank you, Kelly, for being our speaker for today. So as far as my evaluation of Kelly's speech goes, I would like to say I was unexpectedly surprised for sure to have Kelly come on and just volunteer to speak, it was awesome that she was prepared. And I think as advanced Toastmasters online, this sets the standard for kind of what we should be able to do all the time. Are we doing it? I don't know. Kelly's doing it, so kudos to her. And I really appreciate that she was easily able to use all of the technology as if she's done it a million times. Maybe she has. A couple things that I was pleasantly surprised about were that first of all, she engaged us all by asking us the definition of what it means to be a leader. We're all leaders here. This is a leadership club, and I'm sure that we all have our own special flavor of what does that really mean to be a leader. And she got us to ask that question for ourselves and then led us in a direction that is about her expertise. You know, what does she think about leadership? And another pleasant, unexpected surprise, I don't think I've ever heard of money being referred to leadership before. I don't think I've ever heard that. So that was very pleasant for me to hear of money and leadership being equated. And I would have loved to have heard the rest of that to see how it all ties together for us. I also noticed that she created a lot of, I guess, credibility with the statistics that she wove into there. I think that was very powerful. And credibility for herself. So with the introduction, Kelly's a master. She's written 3 books, and we learned later that she did that in a very short period of time. So that's great. As far as points to help or offer to increase your power as a leader, Kelly, I would like to invite you to stretch and get a little more, kind of hard to do, but this would be a stretch, get a little more personal right from the beginning and let us know, not just you've written 3 books, but where's the journey that you're taking us? And that's what I want to know is like, okay, what's the journey you're taking us on, and what's the journey you've been on that qualifies you to let us know that you are actually the expert, the leader who can tell us how to increase our power as a leader. So with that, I'm going to open up thank you, Trisha, for being the timer. And if you can put an extra couple minutes, I guess, on the timer for the round robins. What we do in our group, Kelly, is we offer the round robins to everybody else. So if you are wanting to give Kelly some extra evaluation feedback, just unmute yourself. Looks like Rick, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Dawn. Yes, I would agree with you. I think that giving some credentials as to why you're an expert would definitely make a difference so that people would understand, well, this is somebody I would like to pay attention to and maybe grow from. I think Kelly has fantastic presentation skills. She's got a very nice voice for it. It's not as expressive as it could be, but it is still not monotone by any means. So it's a very good voice for public speaking. I think a room for improvement really could be, it would be nice, I know it's not an easy thing to do, but it would be nice if you're doing a presentation online, that maybe a little piece of it be you, rather than just the graphic that we see. Because seeing the expression on your face with the words would almost be more like being there in person. And if this presentation is going to be done in a manner of being online, which a lot of programs are today, that it would be improved if there was a way of creating that. I don't know how you would do it, but I think that might be something that would be improve it. Outside of that, I think the speech was to her normal quality. It was an excellent speech, nicely done. And I hope that she becomes a member of our club, because it'd be nice to have you on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Doug, I also see that you're unmuted. Would you like to offer some words of evaluation for
Oh,
Kelly?
sure. I thought, Kelly, that it was a very interesting speech. I liked the intro on leadership. I liked that you'd started interacting or getting some feedback from us too, like what is a leader, and actually trying to think about what is a leader without using the term lead was interesting. One of the things, or a couple things that I might suggest to you is, can you lower the volume on the background music while you're asking us to do something like, come up with that definition? I found it's a little distracting, although it was nice not to have silence. That was good. So just a little thing there. And I was also, at a lot of times, this goes to what Rick had said too, I was trying to watch your thumbnail, watch you, as opposed to what's on the PowerPoint. You take a look at that, but then I was trying to look at what you were doing as you're presenting. And I think you'd said you were interested in learning a bit more about using, the video medium to present. So one challenge I have is I noticed a number of times your gestures, and I'm finding this with a number of people today, they're right at the bottom of the screen. You can only kind of half see the hands as they're moving around a bit, or, you're not really seeing that much going on. So you got to make sure you're aware of what your frame is in a video chat, and make sure you bring your hands into that frame to really make that effective. But certainly, definitely, it was a great talk. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Tricia, I'm going to ask you if you have any thoughts, because you are a timer, but do you have any thoughts for Kelly?
Yes. Kelly, I enjoyed your presentation very much. I thought it was very energetic, and the slides that you used were very picturesque, so it drew us in. And as Doug mentioned, there were certain points where the music became so uncomfortably loud, we either couldn't hear you, or when you're asking us to think, it was difficult to think because the music was loud. So that was one part that I saw that you could make it even more effective, is if you could tweak that sound down a little bit. And as Doug mentioned, we all tend to look at the thumbnail. We want to see the speaker. I noticed that your angle for the computer, the way it looked at you, you're a little bit off center.
Mm-hmm.
So just to help you become more aware of your presence online, is just wanted to let you know that you just seemed a little bit off center during the speech. Other than that, it was wonderful. I echo everyone else. I would love to listen to the rest of the presentation.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. And at this time, I'm going to turn our meeting back to our Toastmaster, Doug Thiessen. Doug, welcome back.
Thank you, Dawn. At this time, I want to call upon Tricia to give our timers report, and then I will give a brief evaluators report.
Yes, Kelly spoke for 9 minutes and 43 seconds. For our topics, Dawn spoke for 1 minute 13, Doug 1:56, I spoke for 1 minute 5, and Kelly for 1 minute and 26 seconds. I didn't time Rick because I just wanted to hear his story. And for our evaluation, Dawn spoke for 3 minutes and 27 seconds, Rick 1 minute and 26 seconds, and Doug 1 minute and 40 seconds, and I neglected to time myself. Back to you.
Thank you, Tricia, for the timers report. Now I'll just give a brief report as the general evaluator. Tricia did a great job as timer. She was posting times to the chat group, or at least colors, as well as holding the cards up in a way that they could be clearly seen in her thumbnail without actually blocking her face too. So I think that was well done. She explained and introduced the role very clearly, so nicely done. Rick was our impromptu, he was an impromptu table topic master. I love Rick's enthusiasm. He always has great enthusiasm, and I liked the connection with Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween coming up. I think that was very well done. Certainly the questions were really interesting. I want to give Rick one challenge, though, is I didn't see him leading the applause as he asked each person to speak. And I think that's always important for us to do, particularly as the Toastmaster or the Table Topics Master, whoever is doing that kind of introduction. So otherwise, excellent. Dawn was our speech evaluator, and I think that she did a great job. I noticed, because I believe this is an area that Dawn's talked about working on, that virtually all that she referred to Kelly in the third person. And I always like to do that because I think in evaluation is something that we can all learn from, and I think the third person is more inclusive. But it's so easy to just speak to the speaker you're evaluating and say, you did this, I liked how you did that. So Dawn, nicely done that it was in the third person. Well done. I would challenge you, though, that I noticed a lot of times that your gestures were just on the bottom edge of the screen or below. So we got to watch out for that. And one other comment I'll make as a generality for Kelly, in terms of video presence, there is a strong reflection of, maybe it's your computer screen, but your glasses show a very strong reflection of something, and it's in fact hard to see your eyes with that. So I would recommend finding a way to solve that. I'm not sure, maybe just the angle at which you sit could offset how the light gets reflected back to the camera. Or not wearing the glasses, if that works for you, that certainly looks great too. But something small to keep aware of, since you were wanting to learn more about your presence on video. Overall, I think we've had a great meeting. We certainly started on time. We're definitely finishing early today because we've had a smaller group. I hope next week that we can get our usual attendance back in order, and certainly something that we all need to do is encourage guests to come and check out our amazing Advanced Toastmaster online group. And Kelly, I hope you'll be back. I'd love to hear more from you. I'll turn it over to our acting president, Dawn, then.
Yay, and I'm going to ask Kelly to unmute herself and just give us some general feedback about the meeting, the club, the feel.
Yep, I like it. I like it very much. I need an online home, or maybe more than one. We'll see how that goes. And I like the comfort of this, because I don't look for I look for growth in such a way that it doesn't sting, and it doesn't sting here. I'm not saying it stings in many places, but it definitely comes as good quality feedback, meaning I can take it and accept it very easily. And I love all of these. And by the way, there's a response for all of these, and there's a whole process going in place, and these are wonderful bits of feedback that will integrate and or are there one way or the other. So I'm sure as the relationship that I had my first date with today unfolds. So can I join?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm in.
Yay.
Yay. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. And if you put your email in the chat box, I will make sure, or Trisha has that, and we can make sure that you get just the link to send in your application, and it's just a quick PayPal thing. It's really easy.
Sounds good. Yeah, whatever you need to do. I'd like to start October 1st, just because I've been not a Toastmaster since, that ended. But if I can, I'll just give you that.
On that note, Kelly, given that this club hasn't actually chartered yet, we haven't hit our 20 members.
Got it.
None of us have truly started.
No problem. No problem. I'll get this on another thing then. I'm going to send this to all of you.
Sounds great.
Or maybe not.
Kelly, if you want some help with that, get in touch with me offline, and I'll see what I can do to help you get started on that.
Okay, great. Thank you. you go. So this is for everybody.
All
Yeah.
right, super. Thank you. And,
Awesome.
and
Oh,
very comfortable, very happy that you're here. You're with very good company, as you can tell.
Oh yeah. This is
We are fabulous, and we welcome all fabulous people.
Very nice. Very nice. Great.
Yay.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you decided to visit.
yeah.
Thank you for inviting me, Tricia.
And
When you said you were a DTM, you were looking for, I was like, oh, I have the perfect place for you.
yeah.
I know, and then later I saw that you texted or chatted with me. I'm still learning to grow up. I'm starting into my second half century. I still call people on the phone.
That's good.
Me too.
You know, I was going to maybe suggest something that you might want to try, Kelly, about the glare on your eyes. Because I'm noticing it's not really there for Doug and it's not really there for Rick. It may just be having some lighting in front of the computer, like facing you.
Actually, that's the problem. Because the other day I had lighting behind me, and I didn't have it in the front, and it seemed to be a problem. So I'll play with the lighting and you can tell me if it works or it doesn't work.
And we'll just keep moving it around for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can get a video preview for yourself, even if you're not part of a meeting, and so you can assess that for yourself and figure that out too. Yeah, use your video settings.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah. And this, just to let you know also that this meeting, the link to our meeting is available to you as a club member. So you can go in here and play with, and you can see yourself with the lighting and stuff too, anytime between the meetings. It's there for like, if you want to meet with a mentor or practice a speech as well, you can do that.
That's great. Thank you.
So, yeah, well, I'm going to open up the agenda for next week.
Do we want to stop recording?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, we do want to stop recording. Stop recording.